Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Working Wealth Podcast. I'm Patrick Rogers with SmartPro Financial. Super excited today to have Cody Gingerich with Onward Physical Therapy with us today. I think I got that right.
Got it right.
Sweet. Awesome. We're going to talk about really just like business ownership, health, finance, all the things that go together. I want to hear a little bit about your story for you and Jess opening the business, what that's been like for growth and the trajectory going forward, what you guys are planning and looking for. But also just talk about like, what is it like to run a business and the challenges and how that relates to the bigger things of life and purpose and all that. So super grateful to have you here. I know like time as a business owner is super valuable, committing time out of the day to come and, waste 2 hours talking about life and recording and give me a challenge.
We're not wasting it. No, it'll be good.
Good. As long as it's an investment, that's the key thing.
For sure.
So, but Cody, thanks so much for being here, man, to talk. Just to kind of kick us off, tell us, a little bit about your background, what you guys do, where you're located, and then what got you started in business.
Yeah. So what do you want? Where do you want to start? How we started or where we are now?
I'd say let's do background, how you started, where you are now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm a physical therapist and I met my wife in PT school. So therefore she is also a physical therapist and we got married right after we graduated. And in PT school, I wasn't thrilled with my rotations and how the physical therapy that I thought wasn't what reality turned into. And so through that time, I was kind of sitting there like, man, I feel like there could be a better, different way that I could, do this thing. And so I got this idea and started listening to a bunch of business podcasts, read business books, marketing, a bunch of stuff that in undergrad I didn't get and in PT school I didn't get. So I was like, I know that there's a gap in my, knowledge here. Before I met Jess, my plan was to just move back home, live with my parents, struggle for a little bit and like get something off the ground. That doesn't really exist when you get married. You gotta, make some money and, do that thing.
Right.
So, so we just worked jobs, but the whole time I was kind of scheming. And then COVID hit, we had an opportunity to come down here. We had never been to Greenville and didn't know anybody. But it just seems like an awesome place to live so far. 5 years in, it's been great. Don't want to go anywhere else. So opened our first office at Hampton Station, which is kind of the west side of Greenville, in a big mill building, and it was just Jess and I to start off with, and have since that was we opened our doors in 2021, and then fall of this year we will open our fourth office in Simpsonville. So we have that original one. We have one over by the downtown airport in Greenville. We just in February opened an office in Greer, and then come in August, September time, you know how construction goes. Yeah. Another one in Simpsonville.
Okay.
So, and hired some people along the way to help us out.
Yeah. Fantastic. And you said you guys moved down here to Greenville. Where'd you guys come from before that?
I grew up in Ohio and lived there until I graduated undergrad from Ohio State. And then in Lynchburg, Virginia was where we were in PT school. Jess grew up in Roanoke, Virginia. So then once we graduated, we both worked jobs and lived in Blacksburg, Virginia. Okay. So we were just kind of around South Central Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So you guys have 4 offices now, brand company, Onward Physical Therapy.
Yep.
What is your main like focus, your niche, like what separates you guys? Because one thing that stands out to me is you kind of alluded lightly is you go to school, you learn how the corporate machine wants you to work or whatever, but clearly you weren't satisfied with that.
Yep.
So what was the shift and how do you guys differ from what the standard model is to how you guys operate today?
Yeah. Our biggest mission is to be as anti-medical as possible.
Love it. Where's my tinfoil? Let's do this.
Like anything you think of walking into a doctor's office, we want to look 180 from that.
Okay.
And what that means, right? So like you walk into any of our offices and the first thing you see is it looks like a gym.
Right.
Rubber floors, squat rack, dumbbells, kettlebells. And that is kind of the stepping stone into what our mission is. And that is, meeting people where they're at with fitness, and injuries just happen. Like that is a thing of life. 7 out of 10 people are not dying from shoulder pain and back pain. 7 out of 10 people are dying from cardiovascular disease. And that is the big thing, right? So can we get people moving and healthy and people that want to do that and keep them there? Because it's so easy. Like you go to the gym, maybe you're starting a journey and you get injured and you're like, man, like this isn't for me. Or you take 3 weeks off to let this thing heal. When you lose a habit for 3 weeks, that thing is hard to get back, right? And so if we can say, hey, come in that first week, we'll give you a really solid plan. Like we'd have a ton of options to help calm some pain down. But the bigger thing is, can we give you a plan so you can still show up to the gym and, work around this thing? Get amongst your friends. Like that's a huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
Get amongst your friends and doing all that. So that's our big specialty is just fitness athletes. Our other main one that my wife, I was switched.
My Jess
and wife. Yeah.
She's all of our Jess.
All of our Jess. All that she does is pelvic floor rehab. So she loves that space in doing, pregnancy and postpartum rehab, anything that has to do with pelvic floor. Like she is one of the smartest people that I have ever met in that world. And so, so that's our other main specialty. And she helps train up other therapists in that. So then, any of our other therapists, specifically females in our office are also now can work in the pelvic floor space too.
Yeah. And I'll just attest to that is like Haley worked with her when she was pregnant with our first, and now she's started working with her again for our second. And just seeing like the way she approached it and how, like, I feel like there's certain things like medical conditions, we'll call them to use that term, that don't have to be there. Right. Like it's little things we can change or we can work on, like postpartum issues for women. A lot of it is just, okay, can we do some regular exercises and focus on and strengthening ourselves,
find something small
to get past it, right? And I think like same like, guys with prostate cancer, prostate issues, having surgeries, like you can fix those things
for sure,
for the most part, right? Like you can at least manage really, really well. And it's getting to see her and kind of like be in appointments and walk through that with her and Haley. I'm a believer. But nobody else is talking about those things.
It's not much.
It's weird, right? That people don't talk about real things that can help you.
Right.
So awesome. So you guys have a bit of a different approach, or like the way you approach the health solutions. And if I'm using any wrong words or descriptors, you tell me, but like the solution to the health problems is more so functional and like root cause versus symptom treatment.
Yes.
Awesome.
We rarely, when you talk about marketing and that type of thing, we are rarely going into, and by rarely, I mean never, going into doctors' offices to say, hey, here's what we do, try to refer us patients, post-surgery and those type of things. Like we just don't see many of that. Partly is we also don't do anything with insurance. So we can provide our clients super bills of like for their own ability to submit to insurance companies, but we don't file anything through insurance. And largely that was working in that other world. Most of the people behind the insurance are not physical therapists, and they're saying like, no, you can't do this, or yes, you can do that. And it's like, that's not any knowledge base that they have. And that's super frustrating. So we just decided, hey, we're going to not deal with any of that. But what it allows us to do, instead of what typically is like, go to your physical therapist 2 to 3 times a week for 6 weeks, and that's what your insurance kind of covers. Boom, there's that. And then it's like, well, hopefully you're better. And if not, then we got to go ask the insurance company again for more visits and that. And more times than not, for us, we can spend an hour with people. And again, it's more about having a really solid plan, and people who are motivated already, they can go execute that plan. And maybe they come once a week for 2 or 3 weeks and then start spacing things out. Where a lot of times things take longer than 6 weeks to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean you have to have 25 visits in the course of a year.
Right.
It might be literally 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But things are spaced out, and we're more of a guidepost of, hey, here's what I've been doing. Here's how things are feeling. Cool. Now we can navigate and switch to this plan and move forward that way.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say there is like the guidepost analogy is you're more of a partner.
Mm-hmm.
You're collaborating on the health and wellness journey.
Yes.
You're not the one that's saying, hey, here's the plan. We'll do this for another few weeks and then sayonara.
Yes.
Right. Like, no, like you want to be there as the person that's going to be a resource. Like you have the body of knowledge, you have the evidence, you have the experience of maybe there's a past issue, past injury, right? We're working through that. Okay, next time if you do get injured again, ideally not, but life happens, right? If you do get injured again or you have a problem, well, we know what we did before. Mm-hmm. We have that proof. We have that information.
Yep.
We have a baseline, right? Which is really the key, right? It's like you 100%. Have a foundation to work from to then progress for that next treatment plan.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we have made it our mission to know as many coaches, gym owners, personal trainers, anybody in that field in the Greenville and surrounding areas as humanly possible. Because, again, people who are going to the gym, right? They're going to have coaches and gym owners, and they're going to be talking to them probably more than us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can shoot an email to that gym owner or that coach or whatever and say like, hey, this person came into us, this is what they're dealing with. You know, if they need a modification, here's some of the good things that can be done in the gym. And so therefore now we have a ton of that collaborating possibility. Mm-hmm. And so that's been one of our biggest things over the last 4 or 5 years is just trying to build relationships with as many of like those people as possible, because we feel very strongly that they're the ones that are pushing the needle forward in the health space. Mm-hmm. So if we can collaborate with them as much as just our clients, that puts everybody in a really good spot.
Mm-hmm. Just to clarify what I'm hearing you say is, are you implying that it's not about having the relationships to like get referrals? It's more so about the general wellness of the community. Like they're the ones that are on the forefront, encouraging people and pushing people to do better, feel better, look better, all that kind of stuff. And by nature of that, like the business will come, abundance mindset, right?
Right.
But it's more so like, how do we actually promote the mission?
Yes.
Like be a crusader for the purpose.
100%.
I love that.
Yep.
I feel like that's lost in a lot of businesses, where more so it's just like a taking mentality of, you know, like in our business, the classic COI thing is like people will just reach out saying, hey, can you send me some referrals? I'm like, no, I don't know you. And I take care of my people very well, in my opinion. And I'm not going to just throw someone across the bow and hope that they can swim. I would rather make sure that I have a relationship and trust and that you're aligned with my mission.
Yep.
Like if I'm talking about a tax situation, I'm not going to send you to someone that doesn't view taxes the way that I view taxes.
Yep.
Which is the lifetime.
Yep.
Not just the today, but like, what are we doing for your lifetime situation?
Yes.
Like, so I feel like that's probably incredibly important for you guys as well. And
I have probably been in 90% of the specifically the group fitness classes, things in Greenville, because not only do I want to know the coaches, I also want to know how those gyms operate and like the vibes, right? Every gym has their own vibe.
Yeah, it does.
And I want to know that. And then I can pick up on that with like, if a patient's like, hey, I'm really trying to find a gym home. Mm-hmm. I then have a catalog of like, I'm picking up your vibe. I really think you would love this gym or this gym. You should go check them out. Right. And now I can shoot an email to whoever and say, hey, I'm sending this person over. Like they really love, like if it's a CrossFit gym, right, there's that. But there's, you know, I could rattle off a ton of other types of fitness that will get people incredibly healthy. Mm-hmm. I just tend to like CrossFit, but I don't like it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is the only way, and people need to like going to fitness. right? So I could send people. I also coach at the junkyard. So like that's another just like group fitness thing, right? And so there is, and I love those workouts too. So it's just a more data points to point people in the right direction for the overall benefit of being healthier and living longer.
Mm-hmm. And that's really the purpose, right? Is like overall benefit of people being healthier and living longer.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's take that and connect that back to like the business purpose, like how you guys grew. And then I want to tie in some money things too, because we're here to talk about money a little bit, right?
Yep.
So thinking about your business and that bigger purpose or mission, what are some of the things that have been instrumental for you guys to craft that vision and craft the culture you have around your team with Onward?
Yeah. Oh man, I think about this question in just probably daily.
Okay.
Like,
that's good.
We are
obsessing over it.
Yes.
Dude, yes.
because we are currently in our business life in a very big time of growth. And that means building a bigger team.
Yeah.
And man, if that doesn't
that doesn't scare you to death.
Oh man, because I want the culture to be awesome, and I want people to love coming to work. And that's like the people have asked me why even like build these multiple clinics. Like, why do you need to grow? Because truthfully, with Jess and I could probably create just between us a nice sustainable lifestyle business and not have to really grow.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two missions, and one is there's too many humans that are trying to do fitness and need a direction in their life than what Jess and I can provide. So therefore, we need more people to help us.
Demand is there
to help us with that mission, because I want everybody to understand what good physical therapy can be and how that can align with their fitness goals. Secondly, I want to provide as much space for people to get out of the physical therapy that I hated doing. So I want to provide an environment for other PTs to feel good about going to work and treating and working with the people that they want to work with and have a good time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's both of those things. The number one culture thing is if you don't have a fitness mindset of any kind, there won't be any other conversations, because we feel so strongly about that. And it's just leading from the front, right? So that's probably the number one thing that we talk about constantly is like, you must lead from the front. We are not going to be a group of people that says things that actions are not following with that. And so you shouldn't have to say much. You should be like, hey, I see you at the gym this many, and it doesn't have to be, it's any kind of fitness, but you need to be like getting after it. And that has to be a priority in your life, because you can't be telling people like you need to work out 3 to 5 days a week, 30 to 50 minutes at a time. And like, you're not doing that thing. Like that just can't exist. Yeah. So that's by far the number one thing. There are some obviously like physical therapy things that Jess and I both work for a company called Institute of Clinical Excellence, where we travel the country and teach other physical therapists continuing education.
Okay.
And the way that which that company is built is called Fitness Forward. And that means that the first step is like, we are trying to just promote fitness in any capacity while having this underlying like physical therapy thing. Right. And so having an understanding of what that culture of that continuing ed company is another important step in what our hiring process looks like. But the biggest and number one thing is like, you want to be a leader. You want to be, doing the thing from the front, showing up, having a really good relationships and being able to build. And just like, honestly, a part of our hiring process is like, we're going to just like meet at this brewery and hang. And if I can hang with you for an hour and a half, it's going to go better.
Yeah. Right.
So that's part of it.
No, that's super important, because I feel like we're in a similar phase of trying to grow and expand our business. And we have I have one office that I run. as part of a larger organization, right? In the same way you guys are part of like a licensing franchise organization, or like I'm part of an independent company called Smart Pro Financial. I have my own independent book. I'm a 1099 contractor, but I run my own P&L, have my own LLC, all that kind of stuff. And we're at that point now where, I finally have some like really good support staff. Have some back office people provided by the bigger company, branding, marketing, that kind of stuff. But now we're at that phase of every client relationship goes through me. And there's a natural capacity that, I'll just be honest, we've been towing that line for quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Now I think we've done very well. We're able to still perform and excel at a high level, but we have to add more people in. So I've been doing a lot more digging and reading and learning about how do you hire the right people, delegate, establish culture, all those things. And I think that one of the most important and difficult things to do is exactly what you said there, which is you got to be able to hang. And like in the corporate world, it was never that. And I was reflecting on this last night and even this morning driving in, is my first job out of school, I got that job based on like my GPA and my credentials in college. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I kind of liked part of the team, but at the end of the day, it was a job, man. I'm there for a paycheck. I still gave it my all. Yeah, but nobody else did. Like, it was an absolute crapshoot, right? And I feel like that's a lot of corporate. And taking that, connecting it to like the money side and working with people and health and all this stuff, because this is kind of where I want to curve us is, I work with people all day long of different backgrounds, different vocations, different financial positions, because I care about like your mindset more than anything. Now, how much money you have, I would rather make you a millionaire than work with you as a millionaire any day. Don't get me wrong. I love working with folks that are millionaires. Like, it's great. Like the margins are helpful, right? And there's more fun things you can do with more zeros, right? Yes. But like the reality is we've made more people millionaires in the past 5 years than we've added on that were already there. Right. And to me, that is more fun. And connecting back is like, I feel like all that goes back to that mindset of people that are doing better for themselves and like already have that, like for you guys, the baseline understanding of fitness and health. Like, like I want to take care of my body and I want to be mobile and I want to be productive. Same kind of thing in like the corporate world is I just really struggle with some relationships where people have been at the same place for 45 years and just complain about it. Like, bro, like you could have left. Yeah.
Change your circumstances.
Like for a lot of reasons, people stay, but also for a lot of reasons you can leave, you can change. And that's what I did. I got out, right? Saw a better opportunity. The Lord blessed that opportunity. He made it very clear that was the door to walk through. And in very many steps of faith, like we walked through those doors. Yep. Sometimes with trepidation, right? But the point was we saw a better opportunity. And the purpose for us in like the financial side is we want to have impact and influence. If I can impact someone who's just getting started to get on the right path and set that foundational plan, like to me, that's more important than someone who's just trying to get, trying to maximize their net worth. Yep. Right. And I feel like that's the same for you guys from what we're talking about is you want to have someone that's just trying to like stay mobile. Yeah. And not necessarily in a position where you're having to start with baseline habits of, are you drinking water today? Yeah. Right? Like, are you having one glass of water today? Like, that should not be our starting point. Those are table stakes things.
Have we had a serving of vegetable this week? Yeah.
Oh God, this week.
I mean, that's
that's real conversations.
Some of the questions.
Yeah, it's real conversations. Yeah. So thinking about that, like, so we're on the Working Wealth podcast, right? I'm pretty intentional with everything I do that I put out in the public space. Yeah. It's like even the name of this podcast, it's kind of twofold. You got to work at your wealth to build it. And then you got to keep working at it to maintain it. Yep. And continue to grow it and have that impact and that influence. So I'm curious for you guys, we talked about culture a little bit, talked about vision, your mission. Like, what are you doing now outside of just hiring and expanding? What are the critical things that you see that you need to do or have to continue laboring over to continue working on this journey for your business? Yeah.
It's a great question. And it probably changes regularly. But I think the one thing that I continue to go back to is not constantly, and I say it changes, but the mission stays exactly the same, right? And so when I see companies or businesses where it's like a very volatile, like we're doing a ton of stuff right now, and then it's like you don't hear from them for 3 to 6 months, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like this big blast of like, you know, marketing deals and, you know, all of that, and then it's like drop off,
flash in a pan,
right?
Yeah.
And so Jess and I really try to make it just a very steady stream of like, we have to be consistent doing the things we say we're going to do. And if we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And that has to happen day after day after day, after week after week, after month after month, year over year. And when we get to then 5 years down the road, this is this spot that we are. And it's not these huge waves of motivation, and then it's like, oh, I crash and burn. And then a huge wave of motivation, then crash and burn. Because that doesn't get you anywhere further. But very small baby steps every single day, 5 years down the road, gets you a long way. So that's kind of where, even moving forward, as we are growing our businesses, we're trying to also implement that into the people that we hire and talking through them with the same thing of like, look, this is how you grow a caseload, and this is how we like stay very relevant for a long period of time. And it's not falling off the deep end and then reappearing. So that's kind of the big thing.
It's consistency.
Yeah.
And time.
Yes.
And focused effort in the right location.
Yes.
Which is the 3 fundamentals of wealth.
Yeah.
Like time, consistency,
has to happen. Yep.
Location. I could give you the best investment in the world, and you have all the time or no time, and you don't put anything into it. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I give you the worst one in the world. Just stays flat. You have all the time in the world, and you put everything into it.
Yep.
You're going to have a lot. But if you don't appropriately balance those 3 things, understanding that the consistency or like the discipline is the most important one, like doing the things that you don't want to do when you know you still need to do them, and you really don't want to do it.
Oh, 100%.
Like really don't. Like, man, I'm not a fitness guy.
Yes.
I'm 2.5 weeks from now, I'm 4 years at CrossFit. May 10th,
awesome.
My mom's birthday.
That's
right?
awesome, yeah.
So like, I'm not that guy, but apparently I am now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's been a thing, right?
Yep.
So to take that, apply that to like wealth, because obviously that helps in terms of your practitioners or other therapists. I don't know what term you guys use.
All the above.
Like for them, that helps them build their journey of their business, their caseload, increase their income, right? Helps you guys grow your business, increase your revenue, increase your margins, all that kind of stuff, right? Same with your health, right? If I consistently show up, I put good things in my body, I work out or I'm active, I drink water, I do those things consistently over time, I get injured, I get help, I get healed, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like all that plays into it. And I think this goes into the bigger concept that I love talking about with business owners, which is total wealth. And that's kind of a term that, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to coin in a way, is total wealth it's not about money. We all, like, let's be real, we all love money, right? It funds things. It gives you opportunity, it gives you freedom. It gives a lot of people a lot of pain and stress, myself included. I'm sure you guys have felt that, right? But the reality is, like, it's not just about the dollars. It's about what can you do with that, or what can you change with that? Like, how can you impact other people? And I've been telling a lot of people recently is the best way to grow your wealth is to live longer.
Yeah,
that's the time component, right? Like time,
just more time,
location. Consistency, right? Like more time, if you're doing the right things, you can just continually grow your wealth. And there's a lot of studies that prove that. In our space is, you know, people that have been diligent investors and savers for years, they have, we call them like mass affluent. You've got 1.5 million to maybe 5 million at retirement. Typically your net worth doubles before you pass away because the behaviors and disciplines you use to get there don't just go away, right? Which is why we have a $90 trillion wealth transfer happening over the next 30 years.
All the boomers are passing on wealth.
Boomers, Gen X will then, like 25 years from now, pass on like 90 like trillion, like it's trillion with a T,
Big number.
that's a million, like 90 million billions
Yeah.
or 90,000 billions, 90 million millions, right? Like that's a pretty big freaking number, right? But taking that back and connecting it with like the health and total wealth component is, it's not just like focus on your health all day and like leave everything else behind. You got to work.
Of course
you got to provide.
Yeah.
You got to produce. You got to do those things. It's not just disregard my health.
Yes.
And have money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's this constant balancing act we all have to do, understanding it's a push-pull all the time. We talked about this with Chris Sweet last time he was on, is like there's no real balance. Like life happens in the tension. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a black and white world.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's some things like I believe fundamentally are black and white, my beliefs. Mm-hmm. But life happens in the gray.
Yep.
And being able to navigate that, from a money perspective, from a health perspective, family perspective, your business, all that, like that's where the real rubber meets the road. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what my question is in that, but I'm just curious your thoughts, like as we're talking this out.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's so much more to life than just the vanity of looking nice or the vanity of like a nice car because the bank balance is nice. Like, I don't know. What's your thoughts? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. The concept of having balance, I think I would have to agree. I don't think that there is any real true balance. It's what you feel like the balance has to be in your current life. And that might not be that it is perfectly balanced across all things that you want to be doing, right? And that would be including like, everyone talks about like work-life balance, right? Mm-hmm. But that includes, relationships with friends, relationships with potentially spouse or, significant other. And then also, yes, wealth building, whether that is working or a ton of people are doing, like side hustle things these days and like, all of that. And also just your own stress management things. Whether that's, I like to just like sit and veg, or if it's like I like to go, play golf or whatever the case may be. I think that in times of life, that balance is shifting constantly to where it is not actual balanced across. Mm-hmm. I think there's times where you have to throttle up on some things, recognizing that it is a period of time that then those balance or those throttles can shift a little bit later. And it's like, okay, we are kind of always ebbing and flowing in that, which then leads back to life happens in the gray. Because you are always trying to, at least in my life, trying to see, okay, well, what throttle needs to be adjusted right now? And can I actually adjust it? Or do I need to just sit in this for the next 6 weeks and just know that we're going to hit this hard and we are very unbalanced, and that's okay. Because you have to do what you say you're going to do. And then things can shift. I mean, right now, like Jess and I have a shared Google Calendar that we will like have to put like 3 weeks in advance. Like, hey, on Thursday night, we're going to like sit down and either go out to eat or do something, right? Because we work together, we see each other a lot, but we don't have a lot of like together time. Yeah. So like, but now it's
focus time.
Yeah. Now it's a lot of times where it's like, no, on the Google Calendar, we have to actually put it down because just by chance right now, it's not going to happen because something will come up. So things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see that as a forever thing.
Yeah. It's the phrase that I think I heard a Hermosi podcast or something where he said this recently. It's for now, not forever.
Yeah.
But being willing and able to recognize that. Like I think there's a lot of times where, and I've been there. I'll be there again probably next week. Let me just like Cody, go ahead and disclaim this before I like step on any toes and piss someone off. Give me a review. That's great. Thanks. But the reality is like a lot of times we're too sucked into our own world that we don't have like the mental intelligence to see the gray.
Yeah.
And it's not like about being like smart or not. It's just like I'm so in it. Like I cannot figure out a better way to do it, which goes back to having a coach.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my low back hurts. What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, or great one, actually. So Trevor.
Yeah.
Your new therapist, right? Going to be the Simpsonville location.
Yep.
I heard him talking to someone in our gym class last week who said, "Hey, like I just did this thing for the first time in like 2 years, and my shoulder's kind of hurting. Like, can I see you to talk about it?" His first response before he could take a breath was, "We'll probably give it 2 days first, see how you feel, and then call me." Because he knows, like, you just said you did this for the first time in 2 years.
It's probably
like
all right.
pull out of where you are,
Mhm.
perspective shift. You did something out of the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this an actual injury, or did you just kind of like do something a little, out of the ordinary?
Yeah. And
2 days is a good buffer to determine.
Yeah. Is it pain? Is it soreness? Right.
Yeah.
Like those are different things. Right. And I think like I kind of dug into that a little bit because a lot of times like our businesses are very similar.
Yeah.
Is we're focused on the bigger picture of general progress towards the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like for you guys, if I can speak for you, correct me on this, is like you're trying to help people be able to move and function for as long as possible.
Yes.
In a good way.
Yes.
Right? Because you don't want to get to those last 7 years of life and it's just miserable.
Right.
Right? Go 90 miles an hour towards the wall and then like that's the best case scenario, right?
Slam into
it. But yeah, slam into it. Make it quick. Same thing for us is like, I want to help people build those behaviors and those disciplines and the focus and the perspective that, like, to be honest, with everything going on in the world, I shared this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 2 clients in the past 6 weeks reach out, freaking out.
Yep.
Out of 300 something relationships. I'm not trying to toot our horn, but I feel like either they're not reaching out because they know what I'm going to say, or they're not reaching out because they're too scared, or they're just so in their own life that they don't have time to worry about it. But like regardless, people are not freaking out. And I'm going to take that as, well, we kind of trained and coached the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll take that as my thing. If you're sitting here watching this and that's not you, let me know. Please. Maybe we can do better. I would love to do better, right?
You're freaking out.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
But like the point is like we're here to coach and collaborate and be your partner, walk through this journey to help you get to the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Right? I mean, that's like like you said, with things going on, it's like in my own life, I'm like, I don't have to touch any of that money for a very long time because I'm active, healthy. I don't foresee me stopping having to do anything for, I don't know, what am I, 30 something, 40 years, 30 years.
How old are you?
30, almost 33.
Oh, we're about the same age.
Yeah.
Okay. Almost 32. So
yeah. So
I viewed you guys as older, like wiser. Let me clarify, wiser, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, no, that's the reality is like things are for now, they're not forever.
Yeah.
If we get distracted by that short-term fluctuation or short-term like life volatility, we so easily get off track.
Yep.
And I'm curious for you guys, because you kind of mentioned earlier about being focused towards that bigger picture. What are some of the distractions that might have come up over the years of building your business that you might have like put the toe in the water and then realized quickly it was the wrong thing, or maybe you didn't and we had to learn the hard way? Because I got those. I'm curious what that looks like for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know that we had any. So far, we have avoided any major significant thing. The biggest thing that I struggle with constantly is the time component. I have to remind myself on that always. Like,
how so?
I want to be the biggest and the best yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So like, but I also make a very diligent effort to not be the perceived smartest in the room. Like I take to heart the whole little like saying where, if you think you're the smartest in the room, you need to find a new room. And so that's twofold for me. Is like I try to recognize and be humble to where I never actually think that I'm the smartest in the room, because everybody, like every conversation I have, I'm like, yeah, what can I take from that? While also simultaneously trying to put myself in circles where I know that I am like with very intelligent, wise people who have done business and that type of things. So one of the best pieces of advice that I got that I think about this on a daily basis is like, guy built a very successful business, and he was like, the first 10 years of that was very sketchy. Right. And he's like,
how so?
What you just like month to month, like, are we going to pay our payroll? Are we going to, And I'm sitting there at like year 3,
Mm-hmm.
having a profitable business, just not being exactly what I want it to be yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you have to think about it like if you're sitting on a cruise ship and if you're only looking forward at a vast ocean, you're going to feel like you've gone nowhere. But if you just turn around and look at the coastline, you're going to see that that thing is disappearing, right? And so he's like, you're always going to be looking at forward at what the goals are and where you want this business to go and all of that. But if you literally were like, where was I a year ago in this moment and see where you are now, that changes your perspective dramatically.
Mm.
So I think about that constantly because that's where I start to get into some trouble of trying to do everything now and trying to make everything happen, where it's like the exact conversation we just had, where it's like small investments over a long period of time, done the right way. You look a year back, and hopefully those things have gone well. So that's kind of the biggest thing of like when I start to get, anxious, struggle with like, are we gonna, be this and that? It's always that. It's like, okay, well, from a year ago, where are we? Are we in a good spot? Honestly, we're taking a ton of chances right now. Like if we had this conversation a year from now, I might have some things where like that was a big mistake because we are opening clinics a little closer together time wise than is really super comfortable.
Okay,
but with the opportunity being massive,
right?
And so we're taking a pretty big hack right now and hoping that it pays off.
Yeah.
Like sitting here in this moment.
So we have this as a timestamp today.
This is a timestamp.
Right? So a year from now,
yeah,
right, like April 24th next year,
yeah,
we'll look back and see what it is.
Yeah, because we're taking on more monthly costs than what previous to now, if everything fell apart, Jess and I could figure things out between the two of us and work a little bit harder, see a few more patients and like float our lives.
Right.
That will not be the case in the next 3 months to where it's just now like we have an actual business that like has to run smoothly with other people, trusting other people. That's a big thing is like trusting other humans, which I love our team. We have an amazing team and I do trust them a lot. But it's still scary.
Well, I mean, if just to free you up on that, like if they're listening to this and they're like, oh my God, Cody hates me. No, like just as a business owner, you feel the weight.
Yes.
Like you are empathetic to the fact that like they have trusted you.
Yes.
It's a mutual trust. But like that goes back to hiring the right people is they have the right mindset, the self-employed mentality. You can hang, right? Like, hey, business is business, personal is personal. We want you to succeed. That obviously helps us succeed, vice versa. Like, but there's some risk.
Yeah.
Right. Like every time I hire someone, there's some risk. Like I'm trying to hire a service advisor to help me just do like caseload and, meetings and phone calls and stuff. And there's that feeling of these are the people that have trusted me for 6-7 years.
Yep.
How do I hand that off? Right. Knowing that it's not really a handoff. It's just an extension of, hey, we're growing the team to be more robust.
Yes.
Right. We're trying to actually be more sustainable.
Yep.
And you guys having more locations allows you to see more people, or maybe you have someone that's driving from Fountain Inn to Hampton Station right now. They can meet in Simpsonville.
Yep.
They get a better service. Maybe it's a different provider.
Yep.
But a better overall service, better value.
Take less of their overall time out of their day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I think that was the big thing for us, which, I mean, you guys can't really do this, but like virtual stuff for our business. I like to kind of claim that I started doing Zoom in 2018 before Zoom was a thing. Like, because I knew WebEx and like other tools from back in the day, like corporate, and I hated them all. But like this Zoom thing came out and I was like, oh, this was pretty cool. And started doing that like late 2018, early 2019.
You're well ahead of the curve.
And then COVID happened a year later, but I've already been doing virtual. It's like all that did was enhance and expand what we were able to do to serve people. So you having more locations, that's like your virtual option, right? Like you can reach people, touch people but it does have that risk.
Yeah.
Because now you got leases,
Mm-hmm.
you got legality, you got liability policies, you got maybe more payroll costs,
Yep.
like actual payroll costs, but also payroll provider costs.
Yes.
Like we could go down the list. I know all these things, right? Like as a business owner. But thinking about that, like as you guys continue to expand and grow, what is like the one thing, and this is a hard question probably to answer, but like the one thing that you guys just really want everybody to know about, not even Onward, like take Onward out of the picture, like Cody and Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also know what it's like to run a business with a spouse.
Yeah.
Like Haley was with me full time for a year and a half or so before our son was born, which is like the most rewarding thing in the world and also one of the most challenging things.
Yep.
I get it. I think that there's like a few select crazy people in this world that could make it work.
Yeah.
You guys have clearly done it. We have other friends and clients that have done it. We've done it. Like just about you guys as you're running this business and pursuing this mission and vision, what's the thing you want people to know?
That's a great question. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like, I think as outsiders see a business grow, the perception, and I have this same perception, the perception is whoever is running that is trying to just make as much money as possible.
Mm.
And the reality is probably, I mean, that thought is so far down on the list of Jess and I.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the byproduct of having a good business that's healthy and growing is like, yes, will we make more money down the road than we probably could have in other ways? Mm-hmm. Yes. But that is the absolute primary mission 1 and 2 is what I said earlier, in that we see such a need for health and fitness, and Greenville is great for that. Like you drive by Unity Park on a nice day. It could be 2:00 on a Thursday and it's 75 or 80 degrees out and that place is crawling with people. Like people want to be active in Greenville. And that's one of the things that drew us here. Like one of the first times we came, it was like, man, people are just out, like Swamp Rabbit Trail. Like there's gyms everywhere. It's like, and they're all succeeding. And so we love that. And so we feel so strongly that like the value that we're able to provide needs to be in front of everybody. And so then that is what just demands more growth. And same thing with the therapist is like, I want to provide an opportunity for PTs to really shine. That's not just, hey, see as many people as you possibly can so that we generate more revenue. It's like, I want them to really love going to work, having the opportunity to then go to the gym and do the things that they want to do on the outside of that, so that they are also, again, leading from the front from health and lifestyle factors. And so that's where I think Jess and I think, and we talk about that all the time. It's like, okay, well, like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? We're working really hard to do this stuff. And it is not for the primary goal, just is so far from like monetary gain. And it's like, yes, a byproduct of it, we'll end up doing fine, but like, that's not the goal. So that's probably number one thing. We just love, like, we love people. We love the community of Greenville, Greer, Simpsonville, like just everybody around. Like we've met so many people. Like we will never leave here. I've lived in Ohio, Virginia, and then now here. And I mean, this is home. Like we went home last weekend for Easter to Ohio, and I now like very comfortably feel like that is a visit and now we're going home. Yeah. And that's a shift of the last like probably year or two. Going any direction. It's just like, okay, I want to be home and this is home. And we want to help promote that in our community.
Yeah. This is where the roots are.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to grow.
Yep.
We're going to expand. We're going to have that impact, have that influence, making things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taking it back to looking like a year, you're talking about like being on the cruise ship and look at the coastline behind you, right? One of the big things that I see for business owners, and I keep talking about business owners because I feel like that's super relevant for our conversation because we both are, right? A lot of business owners watch this or listen to this. But also we have people that are not, they're an employee, they're working for someone else. I think a lot of the concepts still apply in terms of the mindset, right? So I want to take that example you mentioned of like you're on the cruise ship, the ocean's in front of you, it's a big blue ocean, right? All the opportunity, all the possibility. Maybe we know we're heading in the right direction, maybe not, right? We'll find out as we get there and we look back, right? But as you guys are evaluating how to look back at the coastline, are there any tools or processes you're using to actually run or orchestrate your business on a regular basis? Like, I don't know if you're familiar with EOS or other similar programs or processes like coaching structures. That's one of the topics that comes up a lot for me with business owners is around how to run your finances, how to plan appropriately for investments, choosing to reinvest in your business or take some chips off the table for your independent capital, like those kind of things. Yeah. So what does that look like for you guys if you're just talking to other business owners?
So the number one thing is like I just use an Excel sheet with formulas that someone smarter than me has created in that, but Excel is not my jam. I've never messed with Excel, but we figured it out. So KPIs, key performance indicators. And so we look at a lot of different things as far as like health of our current business, is things just like obviously like total revenue up front, and then, differences between like how many new people came and how many total visits, and those information where depending on if one thing is higher than the other, we can say, okay, well, we need to probably dial in this piece over the next month or two to try and even those things out. So that's the number one thing. And then QuickBooks and I am kind of now I'm getting close. I've been doing all the QuickBooks things myself. It's getting a bit out of my wheelhouse. So I'm probably not yet, but close to, because I want to now, everything is in one, and I want to know each
per location.
Yes.
Yeah. I got someone for that if you need a referral.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, let me know. I got you. Joy. Should be great.
Because that's where I want to start separating that information, where right now it's just like onward. Yeah. But I also want to know the health of each individual spot to know where should we put a little bit more effort into to make the whole thing go smoother. So as of now, that's kind of how I've been doing it. But I think it's now at a time to shift that a little bit, to have more detailed information. I would say personally, in knowing where we need to shift money, I don't have a perfect system for that, other than we have made a very concerted effort to not take out any loans for any business growth. So we have not had a business loan of any kind. And so what that means in our personal life is that we live very much below our means, so that when opportunities for business arise, we can make that decision comfortably. So that's kind of the point now of like, we're opening these two new clinics pretty close together, and it takes a decent amount of capital for that. But because the opportunity and the people that are around that have been something that we felt like we can't not do, having the freedom to have some of that capital to say yes without taking out a business loan has been massive. So making sure our mortgage stays low. Like, we don't need a bigger house right now. I drive a 2011 car that doesn't have a car payment. We just had to get Jess a new car because hers fully died. They gave us like $200 for it.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I mean, it was like fully dead, but like up until literally December, we had never had a car payment in any of our, marital history. And so just things like that, where it's like, are there cool things that we want? Of course. Like, do we need those things? No, because we need to make sure as we have opportunities for business growth, we want to be able to handle that.
I think that goes back and is kind of a testament to what you said earlier about just being in that mindset of your whole mission in growing is to fill the void of demand, to provide the supply to help the demand, right? Like to kind of take some of that off the table, right? It's not about trying to make more money. If you help enough people, you're gonna be fine.
Right.
Like anybody who's heard Dave Ramsey, you hear him quote that a bajillion times a day, right? He's just requoting other people, right? But like the reality is, if you have that perspective of I'm not here for myself, I'm here for other people. And my whole mission, my whole passion is how can I help the most people possible to move forward in their life. As a byproduct of that, you get little certificates of appreciation with presidents' faces on them, right? Like that's what it is.
Right.
And I love that about our conversation is that, and like we've never talked about this before. Right. Like just to clarify that, this is our first time talking about this. But I think that you guys exude that like before you walk in a room, like in the best ways possible. I don't know if there's a bad way to do that, but like I feel like just the leading perspective is, hey, we're just here to help. Like we just want to be a resource. If we can find a way, let's find a way. You know, of course, you're running a business. You gotta charge for your value. You gotta be profitable to stay in business, to be able to grow. Like all those things are just like kind of table stakes things for expanding an operation. But being in a position where you're intentionally saying no to yourself for the bigger impact of yes for other people. I think that stands out today.
I mean, and that's I'm happy to hear that because that is how we try to operate on a day-to-day basis. Just like, where can we be of value to others? And if that value ends up being, monetary changes hands, but for the most part, there's a lot of value that can be gained from just like, the amount of like Instagram DMs that we just answer and, like those type of things where it's like, that's a quick answer. Like, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
and you have the ability and the freedom if you wanted to just do everything for free. Like you could choose to do that. There's financial influencers online all day long talking about stuff, to be honest, they really don't know about. Some that do, right? And they do it for free, or then, then they try to sell a course or whatever. Same thing with health, right? Like you have all those people doing those things. But the reality is like, if your focus is truly just helping, and you have that abundance mindset, knowing that the right people are going to come in, the right people are going to seek you out, and then you can curate that right relationship because you have the right people on your team. You have the right processes in place. You have the right purpose in place. People know that. That's going to lead to profit.
I mean, we put a ton of stuff on our Instagram, like exercises, free stuff. Like, hey, if you're dealing with this, you could probably try this. And we have no problem sending that because that's not – you can find anything on the internet now, right? Like, that's not where we feel like our value lies. Our value lies in like, okay, you have very limited time and I can very easily, most of the time easily, actually find the exact exercise for you. You could spend a couple months and try all of the exercises that you see online, and maybe one of them does work, and great, more power to you. I'm happy that you found something that worked. But if you're like, I need to figure this out now, I could be like, this is the thing. This is the exercise of, you've probably seen it on our Instagram along with the other 20, but this is actually the one that you need, and hammer that one, and then we'll go from there. And so, I mean, someone told me yesterday, they were like, ChatGPT, like my thing. And honestly, like what ChatGPT threw at them, it was a bunch of things, all of which was really not bad. But I was like, we could take these two and hit those really hard. And you can forget all the others because you have a bunch of other stuff. Like your general fitness is also important. So like you don't need 8 rehab exercises. You probably need 2. So like ChatGPT threw them a pretty decent little like program, but they have no idea, like it has no idea what else they're doing in their life. What time component do they have? Like if they're showing up to a class, it's like, well, there's an hour of time that's just dedicated for that. And so like they've got 10 more minutes maybe. So like things like that. So we have no problem just giving a bunch of information because that's not the value.
Right. It's funny you mentioned ChatGPT because I was actually at a coffee shop this morning before coming here, and I was working on some like plan, like helping a business with their 401k plan.
Yeah.
Trying to like change the settings, maximize how much the owner can put in via profit sharing, and also for employees and all that. And I was sitting there like, I know the information in my head. I'm just trying to find which file cabinet is it in in my brain, right? And I actually just got on ChatGPT and I was like, here's a situation, like, how do we do this, right?
Yeah.
Just to help me like get that right, the drawer open. And the numbers that it kept popping out for like annual contribution limits, it kept saying 66,000 is the max they can put in. And I'm like, I know the IRS limit is 70,000 for this year. Like, what is this doing? And I pushed back, like, because you can kind of fight with it, right? The fifth time, no lie, the fifth time, I finally said, you're wrong. The IRS website says this. Why are you telling me the wrong thing? And it finally popped back out. I was like, oh, you're right. Thanks for pushing back. And I'm like, AI is not perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Like,
supposed to be smarter than
AI
this.
has legitimate incorrect things programmed in. I'm not saying that's what it is, but like, that's a perfect example is there's so much information out there, but when you choose to work with a qualified professional that truly has your best interest at heart and wants to be the coach and collaborator, not just the salesperson, right? You know, if I just want to go get a paycheck and work in the hospital and run a 400 client a week caseload, like, or per month, whatever, like, you can do it.
That's about what it is.
You're not really making a real difference because all you're doing is focusing on, I got to get through these 100 people, right?
Yes.
You're not focused on, well, how can I actually help this person make the biggest impact for now so we can have the best impact forever?
Yeah.
Right? I see so much of that correlated with our business and how we operate. And I think that maybe to kind of get us wrapped up here is one of the things that I've learned for us, I'll share, then I want to ask your opinion about for you guys. For us in like financial planning, it's taken me like 7.5 years to realize this. And I'm not ashamed to say that because I actually think this is a level up that most people don't ever get to.
Okay.
And it's going to sound really simple when I say it. But like the whole point of how you build wealth is have margin in your life and buy things that go up in value.
Okay. Yeah.
Seems pretty simple, right? The absolute hardest thing in the world to do for most people. Because you have to have margin, which means you're controlling your expenses, you're increasing your income, or moderating that over time. And then you have to buy things that can go up in value, but you have to own them forever.
Yeah.
Like, what are people doing right now? Massive stock sale-offs and all this kind of stuff. People freaking out. Well, why?
Right. You've just lost the thing that can gain value.
Right. And you probably sold it at a loss, right? So like you have to have margin, which is discipline, personal focus, a bigger picture mindset, a viewpoint on the long term, not the short term.
Which is really delayed gratification.
Bingo, right? Like the discipline side,
Yep.
right? But you have to have that to then be able to do this. And then if you do this, you use this to fund this.
Yep.
That is the entirety of financial planning.
Yeah.
Simplified. Now take that and let's talk about like how difficult that is. Again, discipline, focus, goals. Sometimes life circumstances happen, like somebody totals your car, your house burns down. We've had trees at our house 3 times in 6 years. Like life happens. Like it is the reality of things. Like Jess's car died.
Yep.
You had to go buy a car, right?
Yeah.
Those
For the
things
whole
happen.
appreciating assets thing, man, that hurt me so bad. I hated every second of it.
Yeah. Right.
But,
yeah. I know. And I feel that. But like that's it. And my approach now with prospective clients is I'm saying that up front. I'm like, hey, like if we don't agree on this, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about the tax stuff. I'll talk to you about the estate planning stuff. I'll talk to you about insurance. I'll talk to you about cash flow management. I'll talk to you about asset allocation and diversification and all this kind of stuff. None of that matters if you're not willing to have margin and put it over here on your balance sheet. And especially for business owners, like then you have the questions around how do I take certain things on my balance sheet and reinvest that into the right places? Like maybe it's my business, maybe it's taking some chips off the table to put in other things, right? Like to me, that's it. Like if we cannot agree on that financially, there's no point in further conversation because philosophically we're not aligned.
Yeah.
So saying all that, I'm curious when it comes to physical therapy and health.
Man, I love that.
What are those for you?
this is also probably why you only had a few people reach out to you recently, because you're setting expectations up front, right?
Right.
So that's where, and I talk about that both when I'm teaching other physical therapists and in my own like life of what are the expectations here, and like that has to be a first conversation.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about people who really care about going to the gym, some people are more okay with feeling like pain than others.
Mm-hmm.
In the like, yeah, my shoulder feels kind of wonky, but I'm able to go and do this workout without having to modify it, and it's fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do that, but just know that this recovery is going to probably take longer because you are doing some irritating things. Now, we're also addressing the thing that needs to be addressed, and so you're hitting both simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
But the expectation cannot be that this thing is going to heal up in a few weeks. It's probably going to be, we're talking more months.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're fine going to the gym and feeling that a little bit, eventually you'll get there. But you can't come to me 2 weeks later and say like, yeah, it doesn't feel any better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we talked about that.
Yeah.
On the flip side, some people are like, I don't want to feel this pain at all. I'm still want to go to the gym, and I'm like, okay, well, then we can probably pull this thing and this thing out for the time being that we know are aggravating factors and do your rehab in place of or whatever. And that thing probably has a quicker outcome. The discipline side of things is massive, and creating margins, I also talk about that constantly. The margins in your physical and mental well-being, the things that we talk about the most are, one, just the activity or strength level that you have. Like, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Like, if this is pain threshold, right? If you go above this, you're going to experience pain.
Mm-hmm.
Things that make you less likely to hit that pain are going to be, one, just how physically fit and strong are you? Buffer.
Mm-hmm.
How much sleep do you get a night? Buffer. What is your stress management techniques? Buffer. What is your nutrition like? Do you get enough protein? Do you eat your vegetables? Buffer. Right? So now that margin is significantly bigger to where you could probably be reckless at times and not feel like, oh, everything that I do is painful.
Yeah.
But if you're buzzing this tower, right, you sleep 5 hours a night, you barely eat enough, like you're eating 1,500 calories a day, you are super stressed out, like you're buzzing this tower in everything that you do, so you have no ability to do outside of your norm. And that aligns perfectly with what you're saying. Is like if you're living your lifestyle at a position that you have no buffer to invest in anything, your wealth goes nowhere. And the same thing, your health will go nowhere if you're constantly fighting that battle of like, I have to take this week off and I have to, because it's just you're going to be a losing battle, where you have to have some discipline in some of those other areas of your life. It's not always going to be perfect. No one is perfectly dialed into all of those things unless you're super wealthy and retired and 30, right? Like we got kids, like sleep, so it's you manage that, and we talk to people on how to manage and like which of those dials can you improve the most or act on most quickly. But that is in the physical, mental, like PT world, that's your discipline margins to create longevity.
Yeah. So like, just to kind of put those like bullet points is sleep, how you manage stress, nutrition.
Yep.
Can we say hydration?
Yep.
That's part of nutrition, but like hydration, that's kind of fundamental, right? Everybody does got to drink water.
Yep.
Like, is there anything else you would add to that? Those four?
Just your physical fitness.
Just your general like foundational level.
Yep. The stronger people are harder to kill.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark Ripito said that.
Except in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, true.
You need more oxygen for those muscles, right? Like that's the thing. Yeah. So, yeah. No, that's great, man. I'm glad that we can connect on that, like the two worlds together, right? Because again, like the best way to build your wealth is to live longer. The best way to enjoy your wealth, is to do the things now, so you can live longer and enjoy it longer. And I find like, especially when I work with folks that are trending towards retirement or they're in retirement today, a lot of times, because again, we'll talk about just unlucky and circumstances, that kind of stuff. I mean, our standards of food, activity, whatever has changed 17,000 times in the past 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Like when the food pyramid came out, funded by the cigarette companies.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I get it. Like there's been like really bad information out there for a long time. And I'm just learning about this myself. But the more you can do by starting now is always going to be the best thing for you.
Yep.
And if you decide you want to go back, like, hey, make some progress, say, it ain't for me. I'd rather just be miserable. Go be like, go, anyone will give you a loan. Anyone will give you a credit card. Like, go be in debt. That's your choice, right?
Yeah.
Just like you can be as unhealthy as you want. Like,
for sure.
The world appreciates that these days, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it's more important for us to focus on that bigger picture of you can always choose to do better for yourself right now.
Yep. Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Was the first best time to plant a tree was yesterday, and second best is today. Something like
That's
that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Unless you know they're going to be cutting all the trees down tomorrow. Like maybe don't do that. Wait till after that, right? So, but you don't know that. It's gonna. You don't know. So, well, cool, man. Well, how do people find you guys, and how do they get in touch? Like, let's say I went and played golf for the first time in 2 years, and I'm sore. Like, or I didn't stretch before running on a treadmill.
Yep.
Like, how do I find you? How do I reach out? What's your process? Those kind of things.
Yeah. Online, our website is onwardgreenville.com. Okay. So it's super easy to manage. You can find our schedule. You can find any information that you want there. And so it's a pretty simple way to, if you want to just get on the schedule right away. We also do 15-minute free phone calls. So if you're like, hey, I'm just curious if, they can help me. Mm-hmm. You can find anybody's schedule and hop on a 15-minute phone call and just talk through, what you got going on. Do we feel like we're going to be the right fit? So that's super easy. We are all active on our social medias. So our business social media is at Onward Greenville on Instagram. And our whole team, you can find, they're all tagged throughout there. So I would just see anybody that might be, someone you want to reach out to. Mine's Cody.Gingerich, I think. But yeah, those are probably our primary ways, and email addresses are on the website as well. So it's usually first name, whoever you want to look at. So Cody, Jessica, Trevor, Ryan, Haley, Michaela at onwardgreenville.com.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
when you get a second Cody, it'll be like Cody dot whatever kind of thing. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yep. And then just out of curiosity, because I know I've run into this in the past, is do people need a referral to see you guys? Or can they just come in and get help?
Just come on in. Yep.
Awesome.
And we can, sometimes depending on, how long we need to work together, eventually maybe a referral, but definitely the first time, just come on in.
Okay. Come get the help you need.
Yep. Get a plan.
Awesome.
That's the biggest thing. Starting out, get a solid plan.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I know we have a loose plan for these episodes and a lot of times we just roll with it and let it go.
Flowed pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. We'll do it again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Love
Talk about business and life and all those things.
Yeah.
So cool, man. Well, thanks again for being here. If you guys have not reached out to Cody or you don't know who they are, reach out to them, onwardgreenville.com. If you have a problem, soreness, pain, check them out. Super knowledgeable, super helpful. And if you haven't done this yet, go back and watch every episode we have so far on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff. Leave us a review. Let us know we can do better. And if you have any ideas, people you want to have on, let us know. We'd love to connect with them and go from there. So thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated.